Yes, it's been a while since we've been live, so this is great.
I know.
Um,
So,
I-
how's everyone doing this morning?
I
you know
am
what?
doing awesome.
I'm feeling
Amazing.
fantastic. Like seriously fantastic. Rocking some meditations lately. Just feel really grateful.
Is that why you think you're feeling fantastic? Is the meditation?
Yeah, actually I do. I think it's been a big shift just for me, just to kind of get centered. And this week I actually just took a moment just to like be with me and not necessarily do anything that we're going to talk about today. But actually it's been working on me, and
Yep,
that's helping for what my goals going forward. So absolutely,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Makes a difference. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. We're excited to be here live. We've been tape recording or recording some of our talks, but we finally got it together. We are live again. Takes a minute, but we come back, and we make the comeback.
Yeah, yeah,
It's good to be here with you all, and I truly hope everybody's staying safe and healthy, and I think most importantly connected, because now more than ever we need it. You're not alone. We're all in it with you, and I'm just really excited to see all the things that people are creating right now with connection. And so, that's been more powerful. The reason why all of us came together to connect was to really help our hairdressing community. And it just seems by default, it's really helping other businesses and communities too. So I'm thankful to be a part of it. So today, what we're going to focus on is obviously maximizing the moment, but looking at like just because you don't have something right now doesn't mean you can't have it in the future. And we're really going to focus in on our salon owners, our salon loft owners, our commission and rental stylists, even our freelance artists that travel and do hair, work behind the scene at hair shows and photo shoots. So we really hope that we really maximize your moment today, and we're going to give you some thoughts that we think will help propel you forward. So I first think it's always important to start with your mindset and really focusing on what you want. And together, Gerry and I teach classes on mindset. And so I really want to start with him so he can share with you what does it really mean to go from a me mindset, like thinking about yourself, and really creating community where you start thinking about others around you. Because I think once you get that message and you really truly understand that, that creates a huge shift in not just your business but your life. So let's start with you, Gerry Watkins, and give us your take on the me to we mindset.
yeah. We to me, yes. And the minute you guys talked about having this topic where we talk about the salon's greatest asset, right, being the staff, being all the people, the ownership, everyone, and what their greatest asset is. The first thing that came to my mind is the best way to motivate that asset or that staff member is with this we to me mindset. And one of the things, even before I talk about the we to me mindset, it's really about how we treat people. And I do a training called about customer service, Carlos. It's about if you want to be impressed, the first thing to do, if you want to impress someone, be impressed by someone. And one of the ways it talks about are the three A's: acceptance, approval, and appreciation. And that Tammy, that first really struck me even before I got a full understanding of we to me mindset as one of the strongest motivators. Because when you can accept someone, that's one of the hugest things you could ever do. Because they broke down what acceptance really means. It means to accept someone in spite of their flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what true acceptance is. Even though that person is a jerk, even though you may not like that person, can you accept that person? Do they have the right to be in the same space that you're in? You know, and that really helped me understand, and it makes all the sense in the world. Because what if we had to accept everybody because they were flawless? None of us would be accepted. If people had to accept you and without your flaws, you would never be accepted yourself. So I found out that is probably one of the strongest ways to motivate another person when you accept them in spite of their flaws. that's life changing. Most of us don't do it enough. And then they also talked about approval and appreciation. One of the things as owners, if we want to, owners or parents or even hairdressers, if you want to motivate somebody, you got to catch them doing stuff right. That became one of our sayings. It's like, we're good at catching people doing things wrong. But really, that demotivates us, right? If you want to motivate them, catch them doing something right. And so the other two A's cover that, like approval. It's all about when you go, approval is about finding something about you, Erin, as a person. One of your characteristics, who you are as a person. And appreciation is about finding something that you do that you can appreciate. And we do this in every staff member. And it's one of the every staff meeting. And it's one of the strongest things we've ever done. We've been in business for over 22 years. And still, my staff, I bet they always say the favorite part of the meeting is when we do sincere appreciation. We go around and appreciate. We have seven or so awards. And whoever wins that award, they come up and at least 3 people appreciate them. And that just, that we start the meeting with that, because that, again, that motivates people. I've been on the other end of that, and you're waiting for your appreciation, because we all want to hear somebody talk good about us, right?
Of course.
Be inspired by us. So yeah, but to me, that just takes it to a whole nother level, because it's all about, as owners and as people, not focusing so much on themselves, focusing on other people in those ways and other ways. And so the number one thing in the we to me, Tammy, and I know we just did a session yesterday, I get so excited because now I know how to help people win. And that would be the number one thing. Like Carlos, you've got some new goals. Erin, we all have got some. But if I could come alongside you and say, hey, I see what your goals are. I see what your needs and what your challenges to reaching your goals are, and I can help you with those. And if I help you with those, if I help you reach your goal, I know I become your new best friend at a new level. If you can help somebody win, you become their new best friend. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. And that's what, as an owner, that's what we focus on. In fact, I'll close in saying this. I'm so excited because my sons are very diligent at what they do. Caleb in education, Carlos, Dominique in education and management, Adam in finding money. That boy can find money on a rock anywhere in the wood.
Right.
And so when they put these loans out, Adam was Johnny on the spot. He had his approval in 24 hours.
Yes.
And so, I'm about ready to jump off of this, because I know they're doing a Zoom this morning, and he's going to share with the staff, hey, I got money to pay y'all for the next 2 months. You ain't even got to come to work.
Awesome.
What's important about that, Gerry, is that as a company, right, the salon you own, that's Adam's strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly.
Everyone encourages him to use that strength. And I think that is the missing key sometimes inside of businesses, is that you don't have to have just one rising star, right? You can have other people in your salon or in your environment on your team that shines. They're going to shine brightly. They're going to shine differently than you. But if you can really dive in and find out what the strengths are in your team and let them fuel that part of your company, you would be amazed at what you can create when you allow others to share their gifts. And I think a lot of times I see it's an ego thing. People have a hard time letting other people shine. And it's like, no, it's okay that they do that. So I think we have some amazing hairdressers in these salons, and they either don't know how to find their strength, they're not encouraged to find their strength or use it. And it's really time to create that different mindset, that shift inside of your salon and your business. Because once you do that, you're unstoppable. I truly believe that. You're unstoppable if you all come together and do it. So I love that you shared that, Gerry. The me to we is huge. How else are you using that in your salon right now?
Well, really, the big parts to the puzzle for me are helping people win. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Also, conflict. Internal conflict, it just wastes a lot of time. And most people are in conflict with other people on the staff or with the ownership or viewing them in a certain way that's creating these conflicts. So it's really great at helping people see people in the right way, their way of being. I know you like that term a lot, their way of
Mhm.
being with people. When we start judging our staff, um, I was thinking about it this morning, being, I'm into NLP a lot, and we project everything we see in front of us is actually has more to do with us than it does what we see. We're projecting that onto people. We're pulling that out of people. We're seeing, when you say, I had one guy, he said the staff is lazy. Well, everybody's lazy at some point in time.
Right.
That's simply
Right.
what you choose to focus on. And the more you focus on that, the more you perceive them that way, the more laziness you see, and the more you provoke them to be lazy.
Yes.
And so that's been huge for me. It started with this we to me mindset, and then NLP just took it to a new level for me. And I was thinking about it this morning. It's like, but it was liberating. It was liberating this morning, because I realized that since you are projecting everything, if you can learn to control your projections, what you want to see in people, how you want to see people, the world is your oyster. Because
Yes.
you can make everyone look good in your mind, and everyone will be good. Everyone will start reacting good. And so that's what it's been for me, Tammy, is to really be able to see people and provoke people in the direction that they want to be and the way I want them to be. And so, I mean, and I know that training is life changing on a personal level and on a business level. It just opens up a new world to you. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really a relationship building. All businesses, if you really looked at your business as a relationship building machine and you built those relationships,
What
the after effect of that, the side effect of that is your business grows. You get the
what you,
financial gain automatically.
this is what I say, guys. People say it ain't personal, it's business. You hear that when somebody's about ready to stab you in the back, Carlos. They say, "Hey, it ain't personal, it's business."
Right.
That's a classic
It's
line.
not you, it's me. When you're getting ready to
Yeah,
break up with you, it's not
yeah,
you,
yeah,
it's me.
yeah. They can really stab you. But I heard John Maxwell say it once, and I want to write a book on this. When it comes to business, it ain't business, it's personal, and you got to know that. That's what business is. It ain't business, it's personal. It's all personal. The way you cut my hair is personal to me.
Right.
The way you talk to me, that's personal. Okay. If you quit on me and mistreat me as a staff member, or if you mistreat an employee, it's personal. I take it personal anyway. I
Yeah.
take it. I don't be thinking about this business. It's personal.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you're exactly right.
Yeah. So I love that. Thank you, Gerry. I
Mhm.
always appreciate your insight. But what I think is important is that how do people find their strengths? Because that's something I had to really search and find out what is my strength and play into that. And once I did that, huge shift in my world. I mean, it was personally and professional. So I know, Erin, that you really dive deep into this and what you do. I mean, you're a hairdresser, you're behind the chair, but you've done a lot of studying on strengths and how to find your strengths. So can you share with us your take on that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I love everything that you guys have said. In fact, I was thinking about, knowing your strengths, and actually helping to develop that of your staff, of anybody really, like your children, your partner, significant other, is empowering to that other person. And it's that whole like law of giving and receiving, right? Very much a spiritual law. So I am a certified Gallup strengths coach. And if you don't know much about Gallup is responsible for many, many, many of the polls that you see nationwide. And they came up with a formula of an assessment for an individual. I think it's about 175 questions. And it is remarkable at how they can pinpoint all of what they call talents. And they've
Mhm.
got 34 talents, and they do it kind of in order of how you use them. So usually your top 5 talents is what you do innately and that you use without really even knowing it. But what's fascinating about it is, and I know Gerry's taken this assessment, literally it pinpoints you and how you show up, how you do things, how others people see you actually really in the world. So for instance, I'm just going to give you a brief instance. My top 5 talents are: positivity is number 1. Number 2 is adaptability. So positivity, self-explanatory. Number 2 is adaptability. I can go with the flow. 3 is input, which is just getting information. I like to share it with people.
Mhm.
4 is beliefs. So I'm very, very strong in my beliefs. People know where I stand. And 5 is woo, which stands for winning others over. So I can actually go into a room and just kind of introduce myself and win people's, I guess, win people over. So it's kind of interesting because when you look at all that, that actually defines me very, very well. And I'm going to give you an example of how, when you take the strengths assessment, how you need to be aware of what we call balconies and basements. So let's take positivity, for instance, okay? So the balcony of positivity is that you're positive all the time. You have a positive outlook on the world, on life. You can always kind of switch things and switch your perspective to the positive side. And most of the time you actually think of the positive before the negative. Now, the basement on that is that you can be really freaking annoying to some people, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've had people say, "How are you so damn happy all the time?" You know, trust me, I'm not always happy, but you can be really, really, really annoying to people sometimes. So,
Yeah.
first of all, knowing your talents, which, by the way, we call them talents because they can be developed into strengths. Okay, they become strengths. You know how to utilize them the right way and in the right situation. But I'll tell you what, you have to be very self-aware of what your talents are and how, whether you're in your balcony or basement, right? So that, let's switch that to the we mindset. That's the me mindset, knowing yourself, really understanding yourself. And guys, this is a scientific, test that they did. It's so highly accurate. So then in Gallup, what they do is then they say, okay, what's the we mindset behind this? Well, let's say, for instance, you have a salon and everybody in the salon, for instance, Gerry's salon, everybody in the salon takes the assessment. And at their station, they actually post their top 5 talents. Okay. That way, each individual person within the salon knows their top 5 talents. So if one day they see me being overly positive about something and they're annoyed by it, they might go, oh, well, her number one thing is positivity. I'm going to respect her diversity and just leave her alone. And in her head, say, shut the hell up, right? Like, whatever. But at least they can respect the other people and know each other. It has a lot to do with communication skills or how to get people motivated. For instance, some people have competition in their top 10. Competition is not in my top 10. So, compete, whatever. I'm altruistic. I want everybody to survive or to, succeed. But if competition is in the top 10, well, guess what? Maybe if a lot of your staff has competition in their top 10, then you do a retail competition, right? Who sells the most retail? You get a certain prize. So it's really dynamic. Yeah, it's awesome. What Gallup is doing is actually going into corporate America, working with managers. And I'd like to see it go into the salon culture, right? Because as stylists and people who are managers and salon owners, we're all so diverse, right? We all have our own strengths, our own talents. And sometimes I think, especially if you're a rental or a commission salon, there's this weird innate competition within everybody. Like, oh, I'm better than you because I do hair like nobody's business, and I do straightening. It doesn't have to be that way. If we all know each other, we can work together as a culture and appreciate each other's diversity, and then make that a standard in our salons. Amen.
Amen.
I love it.
I just want to say, I want to endorse what Erin's doing because, as you said, I did take the test. In fact, Erin, when we had the 6 salons and about 35 management team members, we had everybody take the test. And it was one of the most important things we did to get to know people's strength and how to place them. And I'll give you my 5 too. You guys see it. This is not me. Okay. Number 1 is I'm a learner.
Mm-hmm.
That's my number 1. That's why I have to teach, Tammy, because if I don't teach, they say you'll be too full of information and you'll drive people crazy. So, find a group to teach that want to be taught.
Right.
My next one is significance. And that one was a surprise because that means I want to be important. I want to be up front. And I always thought I was the kind of behind the scene guy, but I always go up front eventually, right, Carlos? And so
Yeah, man.
it helped me to understand this when I thought, just quit playing. You want to be up front. You want to be in charge. So just quit acting like you're behind the scenes. But my other ones, and these are definitely me, is I am a strategic, I'm an achiever, and I'm analytical. And they nailed me I thought I paid them $3,000. I said, that is definitely me. So anybody out there thinking about this, it will definitely help you find how to place your staff. and how to recognize them as an asset in the most powerful way.
Where do you take that test? Is that online?
No, I can actually give you a code to do it. And but you guys, honestly, first of all, we don't call it a test because it doesn't some people out. Let's call it an assessment because it just assesses who you are. Yep. But really, to get your top 5, I think is $20, and to get your top 34 is $50. And I can always give you a code for that, or you can go online and
that sounds amazing.
Take assessment. But what I'd like to just throw out there, and this, listen, I'm so huge into helping people right now, and I have the time. I can definitely message me if you guys are interested. I'll give you a code, and coach for an hour on your top, 5, and we can go from there, because that would be really fantastic for a lot of people. And then, hopefully bring it into salons.
Hey, I have to plug in my computer. Just one second.
Okay. And Carlos, another thing it does is it tells you how to develop that strength. It'll give you information on how to develop it. It'll even tell you what careers or activities you should be involved with based upon that strength. I think I'm going to go back. I got mine pulled up now, Erin. I think I'm going to have to go back and read it. I haven't read it in a while. But one was I needed to be a teacher because I'm a learner. So they said, you got to find somewhere to let this information out.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those. There's no question I'm one of those. I'm a research junkie.
Significance, by the way, is also that you want to make a difference in the world. So not only do you want to be up front, but you want to make a difference in the world. So you have a really big heart.
So it's not all ego.
That make you feel better, Gerry.
It could if you let it.
Thank you, Erin.
What's important about knowing your strength is that imagine if both of you did not play into your strengths, how would you feel? Right. And you don't feel a sense of purpose and contribution unless you're working inside of your strengths. And it's so funny that we all have these things in common that we teach. We just teach them in different ways. So when I teach about strengths, I teach about check in with yourself and see how you feel. When you're working from your strength, you feel empowered. You feel like you want to do more of it. You can't wait to get back to it. You want to learn more about it. And when you're working from that mindset and from that passion, again, you're unstoppable. But if you're working from a weakness, and there's nothing wrong with weaknesses, but if you're working inside of a weakness, you are dreading doing it. Like you wish somebody else was doing it. You don't feel empowered. It's almost like you're dragging your feet to do it, even though you know you need to do it. And that really plays in behind the chair. So when you're behind a chair and say your jam is corrective color, like I love doing corrective color. I can't wait to figure it out. It's like a puzzle piece, putting it together. And then when I make that beautiful color and the way the client feels and the way I feel and they're hugging me and I'm so excited and they're like, oh, wait, I get paid to do that shit, right? Like I'm getting paid to work from my strength and people feel amazing. But imagine if I was doing something that I don't like to do. Like I remember when perms back in the day with little bitty rods, I couldn't stand doing those perms, but I had to do them because it was part of my job. But what I learned is that just because I feel weak at it right now doesn't mean I can't get better at it. And then I found somebody that was really good at doing perms, and I learned from her how quickly she did it. And then the more I learned, it started becoming a strength. Now, we don't do a lot of perms nowadays, but if they ever do come back in style, I don't mind.
Johnny on the spot.
Right, but now I know I can do it. So you have to choose, are you going to strengthen that weakness? Because you will eventually create a strength in it. Or do you just step away from it and just say, you know what, it's not my jam. I'm not going to do perms. I'm going to keep continuing to do corrective color. So it's just being aware of how you feel and how you operate inside of that. But I guarantee you get paid more for your strengths than you do your weaknesses. And as a stylist, that's what you capitalize on. Capitalize on your strengths. And you can do that now. If there's something you love to do behind the chair, start thinking to yourself right now, how can I do more of that? How can I create an action plan to get people to start doing that service? How can I start marketing it? Who could I suggest that strength to once I get back into the salon? Because when you feed your strength and you share it with other people, that's when you literally start creating more abundance in your life, because you're sharing your gift. Your strength is a gift. So it all plays together. The mindset, the strength.
One thing
I want to say, go ahead. I want to say one thing too, but go ahead, Erin.
Okay, so when you were talking about weaknesses, so especially with these 34 talents, a lot of people will immediately go to the bottom and say, wait, why are those at the bottom? Like, right, you know, and they think of them as weaknesses. And really, let me just tell you something that I understood. When I started looking at my strengths and then my ones that are weaknesses on the bottom, I realized that I use people, because we all need each other, right? We're all made up of the same thing. This is all about connection, no matter what. I use people, or I hire people to help me with the things like, you know, executive, like strategic planning, not me, like not my gig.
Right.
Like, put me on stage, put me in front of a camera, I'm good, right? I can just go with it. But like sitting down and being strategic, not my gig. So it's really interesting, because I'm just going to give a quick example. My sister, my half sister, is she's got a PhD. She is a professor at High Point University. Okay, ridiculously smart, very smart. My biological father, our biological father, is a PhD psychologist, crazy smart. My brother, my whole brother, is a neurosurgeon. Okay, so now what do we do sometimes as hairstylists? Oh, I'm just a hairstylist. For many, many years, you guys, I used to compare myself like, wow, I'm just a mom, and I'm just a part-time hairstylist, and I'm not that great. I used to compare myself to my brother and to my you know, my sister. And guess what? The minute I got my strengths and I really started appreciating all my talents and who I am and what I can do that's different than them, they're amazing people. But guess what? So am I. Because I can get on a Facebook Live like that. I can speak in front of people. I love talking about spirituality. I love talking about intellectual things. I can laugh and I can talk about farting on our last, you know,
yeah, we said we weren't going to go there again, but anyway.
I did that just to embarrass you, Gerry.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we're all gifts. We are all gifts.
That's exactly right. And that's the beautiful thing, I think, is it, and it ties into, yes, what are your actual talents behind the chair as well. But that way you're not comparing yourself to other people.
Well, the thing about being a hairdresser, Erin, is that really is a superpower in my mind. And I know people may think that's crazy, but let me tell you, hairdressers touch everyone. It doesn't matter what they do for a living. We touch every demographic in our chair, every story, every part of every person's life. We literally know their first date, their first kiss, their breakups, their marriages, their birth of their children, the death of a family member, their tragedies, their triumphs. Like, we are more than just a great cut and color. And it's a connection that I don't know of any other profession that can do that. Right. And literally work from your passion. You know, hairdressers have a passion, and we get to choose what we do with that passion. And we affect so many lives. You know, you're the one who makes those neurosurgeons look good, and the teachers look good, and the police officers look good. I mean, we touch them all. Yeah. And so we're very relatable people, because we step into other people's worlds every day. And oh, by the way, we do it about 6 to 10 times a day, because it's depending on how many clients we have. So you add that up over 10, 15, 20 years of doing hair. I mean, you've seen every aspect of life there is, because they share it with you. Yeah. So go ahead, Gerry. What were you going to add to her?
Well, just real quickly, I just wanted to say, for one thing, Erin, it's not intelligence. There's different types of intelligence, right? There's athletic intelligence, emotional intelligence. So we all, that's their genius. This is your genius. But I really was reminded when you said this, Tammy, about weaknesses. John Maxwell set me free with this. He says, don't work on your weaknesses. Work on your strengths. He said, the more time you spend on your weaknesses, the weaker your strengths become. If you spend time on that, he says, hire out your weaknesses. Yeah. As Erin said, find someone else to do that. He says, you know, and so that set me free when he said that. He says, now, if you have a weakness of character, that's a different thing. Skill and character is different. If you're a liar, you need to work on that. If you're lazy, you need to work on that. Those are character issues. But as far as your skill and talent, don't work on your weaknesses. If you do great short haircuts, go short. Just build a great short haircut clientele. And the only other thing I wanted to say you reminded me of, Erin, was that the thing that really helped me, I'm a learner first. If people will work on their top strength, you will get fuel to do the rest of your life. You talked about that, Tammy. They just said straight out, if you will work in your top strength, it will fuel every other area of your life. And when they said that, it made me realize why I would get a little bothered if I hadn't read a book in a couple of months or something. If I hadn't taken in some information, I would feel guilty. I would feel troubled by it. And that's when I realized that's why it is. And when I do read a book, anybody that knows me, oh my gosh, I'm like on top of the world. You give me some information, I'm like, wow. I mean, it does just what they said. It fuels me for every other area of my life. I mean, just even right now, talking about it, I'm excited.
I know. I'm like feeling it, Gerry. I'm feeling the spirit.
So anyway, I wanted to mention that for people, that if you get that Strength Finders test, work on your top strength, and it will fuel every other area of your life. And don't worry about working on your weaknesses. Hire somebody to do your weaknesses.
Hey, Erin, can you put in the comments that code you were talking about, so anybody that's watching wants to take the test, they can?
Yeah, if they want me to coach them, I can give them an individual access code, but I will put a link just, in a video explaining it a little bit more.
Okay, perfect. That'd be awesome. Okay, so I really want to hear from Carlos, because, Carlos works behind the chair for many, many years, and he's used his strengths in many ways. But let's talk to the hairdresser right now. Like, what can they do right now to create what they don't have right now, but what they want to have? Because right now we have the time to do that. So how would you suggest that they do that?
Listen, first I want to start off by saying that I'm a listener and I'm a learner, and I've been holding back from talking because you guys had a lot of great things to say, and it's just amazing to hear all the great wisdom. But listen, I want to share that right now we have a perfect opportunity, and I know I say that, but I'm going to be very clear today on what that opportunity is. As hairdressers, and we have an opportunity now to come back into the salon stronger, better, more creative than we ever have been before. We've had a nice break, and my philosophy has always been is, what have you done lately? That's my philosophy for myself. What have I done lately? And I'm always looking to improve on myself, right? And I said the same last time about Les Brown's favorite quote. My favorite quote from Les Brown's is like, "Used to bees don't make no honey," right? So we all have an opportunity right now to come back stronger, better, and more creative in the salon. So I want to preface it by saying this, if you're a stylist that maybe before this pandemic happened, you weren't that busy. If you were a stylist that maybe before this happened, you weren't that motivated. You were right on the fence of not even knowing that this is what you wanted to continue to do. Well, this is giving you an opportunity to reflect, right? And what I want to say is that come back. I'm going to share with you some ideas that are going to allow you to think on these ideas and come back a stronger, better, more creative hairdresser. When I was behind the chair and in the salon, one of my roles was creative director, education director. So, we had a big staff, and my role was to inspire the staff. I never say motivate the staff. I always say inspire the staff, because I can't motivate you. I think motivation comes from the self. You got to be self-motivated. And I'll give you an idea. If it was a beautiful day outside and I said, "Hey, come outside, let's go to the beach. It's a gorgeous day outside." I can inspire you by saying that, but I can't motivate you to get your ass out of bed, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the difference between being inspired and motivated. So what I want to say is that right now, so when you go back into the salon, I want to share with you 5 simple things that were going to allow you to be at the ultimate best. And this was a survey that was done. They took it from 500 of the top hairdressers in the world, and they all shared these traits. They all shared these traits of what made them successful. All right. So number 1 is, I want to say this. Right now, you have the opportunity when you go back into the salon to reinvent yourself. And what do I mean by that? Look the part of a hairdresser. 85% of people judge you by the way you look and express yourself. And I attribute a lot of my success from that, because every time I went to work, I showed up. I didn't just show up like, oh, I'm here to work. No, I showed up the way I looked, the way I was groomed, the way I showed up, my personality, always in a good mood. I left my problems outside the door before I walked in. So, showing up is being completely there. And for me, like I said, we're in the fashion industry. Make sure you look the part, and I mean that. Dress like a professional, and that's going to get you really, really far in this industry. So the first thing that I say is the initial greeting, right? The initial greeting with your clients. This is something that it's going to sound so basic, but when we talk about initial greeting with clients, how are you greeting your clients? This is a perfect opportunity right now for you to really get out and change the way you've been doing things and reinvent yourself. So greeting your clients, going in, looking at your book before the clients come in, knowing who's coming in on that day, knowing them by their name. As soon as they come in, going up to the front, no matter if you're running behind, if you were like with a client, excuse yourself, go to your client, shake their hand. So great to see you. Jen, whatever the client's name is, so great to see you, Jen. I'm running a few minutes late. I'll be right with you. Is there anything I can get for you? Initial greeting. That type of customer service goes so far. Again, these are habits from highly successful hairdressers that made them successful behind the chair. Number 2 is consultation. Okay, what do your consultations look like? I had to say that I consulted with every single client. I don't care if that client came to see me 20 times and wanted just the same trim, right? Betty that came in with the bob that always just wanted just a trim, I still would consult with Betty. I still would show her the latest trends. I still would, because you never know that day that she comes in and you're just like, oh, just wash Betty's hair. She just wants the same haircut. Don't treat your clients that way. Every single client gets a consultation. Every single client. And a thorough consultation, right? Show them visuals. Analyze, diagnose, prescribe. So analyze their texture. Look through their, if they have, and I'm going to lead to this next one. If they have roots, if they have color, that maybe you see a better opportunity there. Tell them, there's a technique that you've learned, or there's a better idea that you have for coloring that it's going to allow them to really, look a little bit more, updated, whatever it may be. The second one is upselling. Okay, every successful hairdresser upsells, because you cannot just rely. Client comes in just for a haircut. I'm always on the lookout for another opportunity, whether it be a deep conditioner, whether it be a color, highlights, straighteners, Brazilian blowout, whatever it may be. There's always an opportunity to upsell. So upselling. So we talked about initial greeting, consultation, and upselling. The fourth one is retailing. Okay, this is something that a lot of hairdressers and salon owners really have shied away from. And I've been from the old school of Tony and Guy that taught me that retailing is everything. Because one, when I owned my own hair salon, my retail paid for my rent and it paid for my overhead. And what I made behind the chair, that was profit. And that's the way, and that's the way you got to look at it, because as a stylist, let's say you don't own the salon, but still retailing, if you're working on a commission for retail, it gives you an opportunity to, one, to increase your revenue. But number 2, you're educating your client. Your client's going to buy product, whether they buy them from you or they buy it at CVS or Amazon, wherever they're going. So it's all about this. And then it takes me to this. It's the difference between selling and educating your client, right? Most people say, well, I don't like to retail because I don't like to sell my clients. Well, you're not selling, you're educating. Because if you did a beautiful color on that client, let's say you did a gorgeous red on the client, right? And that client, you didn't talk about retail, that client went home and started using some, baby shampoo on her hair. And the color just browned out. Guess what they're going to blame? They're not going to blame the shampoo. They're going to blame you as a stylist that they gave them a bad color. Where as simple as you could have requested for them to purchase a color for color treated hair, right? It's going to extend the life of their color. It's going to make their hair color look shinier, healthier, and that saves you from a situation. So it's all about educating the client. Everybody likes to be educated. Nobody likes to be sold. So if you just know the features and benefits of the product, you're going to be able to give that client a great consultation, and believe me, they'll buy. And I would say that my clients, I would say probably like 80% to 90% bought retail from me. 80 to 90%, because the way I was explaining to them features and benefits, they were all over it. They wanted to duplicate what I did on their hair at home. And then the next one from there is the self-marketing, right? So self-marketing is the last thing. So what are you doing to self-market yourself? The one thing that I see hairdressers do that is really not allowing them to be busy is they don't rebook their clients. Okay, rebooking your clients is the most important thing. because when that client leaves, there's a statistic that says there's a 77, I think it was like 70% chance that they're going to return. And you might be thinking you're the greatest hairdresser and, you know, they're going to come back, and there's no guarantees. You know, what you want to make sure is you want to lock them in for an appointment. You know who does the best job at that is dentists, right? Every time you left the dentist, it was like, fill out this card. We're going to see you in 6 months. And you get that card in 6 months and you were right there at your appointment. So make sure that you get your clients to rebook. Rebooking is like really important, and just let them know that you love doing their hair, you're a busy stylist, and you would love them to schedule in 6 to 8 weeks. Simple as that. You tell them that you love doing their hair, and you're going to see them in 6 to 8 weeks because you're getting busy, and their love coming to you. They're going to be like, oh my God, I got to reserve my spot with Carlos because he's like getting really full, and I want to make sure I can get my hair done. And it works, trust me. And so the other one again is self-marketing. What are you doing for self-marketing? You know, make sure that you're giving your clients your business cards. Make sure you're doing self-marketing on social media, using your Facebook, whatever you need to do to get your name out there. Right now, social media is hot. So, you know, I think everybody needs to have an Instagram as well, and post your work on there. Don't just post, you know, work or you on vacation, drinking a pina colada, you know, post some nice haircuts in there, some nice color, you know, have a different, pseudo website for, or I should say Instagram for the fun stuff, but for your stuff that's all related to hairdressing, make it really professional and make it look amazing. And I'm telling you, clients will go on there and they'll see you with a haircut or a color. I can't tell you how many photo shoots and ID opportunities I got from my Instagram from clients or from anybody just going on there and seeing my work. They're like, oh my God, this guy's work is amazing. I want to get a haircut from him, or I want to, you know, come to be a part of a photo shoot I'm doing. So these are just some of the things I believe that help you become successful behind the chair. And again, this is an opportunity to reinvent yourself. So really take these ideas and make them your own, but follow them and you'll be successful as well.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Just little nuggets, just dropping gems, aren't you, Carlos? Just dropping them. It's good stuff.
Fellow hairdressers.
Yeah. So, you know, I think just in general for hairdressers out there, salon owners, any business, quite frankly, because we do have some people that aren't in the beauty industry. But I think what's really important right now is you've got to get crystal clear on what you want. You got to define what you want right now. Just because you don't have it right now doesn't mean you can't move forward in that. So, you know, for me, what really made a shift in my business is I took all that goal setting and all that knowledge I did in my personal life and I started applying it to my business life. And when I got crystal clear on what I wanted, I achieved it because that's what I focused on. That's what I got my attention on. And so anytime you put attention on your intentions, that is energizing. That is momentum. And it doesn't matter if you don't have big gains right away. Little by little, you make progress. And then you eventually live into what you're looking for. So I would say the number one thing is you've got to define what you want. What do you want your salon to look like when you go back? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What do your clients look like? How are you feeling? And write down what you want to create. So for me, I will just give you my example so you can kind of see how it works. My number one thing that I wanted to do when I shifted my business is I had to start paying attention to my self-care, because I knew if I didn't, all the damage I did to my body would not reverse. So I had to get really clear, like self-care. And I started making appointments with myself to take care of myself. And that went from, you know, making time in the morning to eat my meal, making time to pack my lunch to take it to work with me, marking out time in my book to actually sit down and eat it, marking time out to drink my water, to use the bathroom. I mean, I cannot tell you how many hairdressers don't go to the bathroom. That's a fun fact for today. Your hairdresser does not go to the bathroom for 10 hours. I mean, for years I did that. It's like the simplest things. People are like, really? I'm like, yeah, that's how we operate. We're so concerned about our clients and getting it right and not running behind. We don't eat and we don't drink all day long.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to go to the bathroom if you don't eat and drink. You should be good.
But that's the problem. You end up sick. We do that year after year after year. So, you know, I share it now. So those younger generation, you do it now. Make time for yourself now. And then everything went around that. So then I started entering in my family and my faith, and I put that in my calendar. And then I slowly started shifting my clients and my schedule into them working around my schedule instead of me working around my hair schedule. Because I think as hairdressers, we get so intertwined with our career that's our number one thing, because we're so passionate about it. And it's so hard to step back when you're so passionate about something. And then you throw in your children and your social life and your faith. It's like, it doesn't leave a lot of time. So you have to be very intentional with your time then when you're behind the chair. How do you maximize the moment behind the chair? How do you create the same amount of income working less hours? So I started looking at, like, what are the services that I do that I love to do and that my clients really love receiving? And I really focused on those services for the clients because I knew I loved doing them and they loved receiving them. So why wouldn't I offer more of that? And I had to look at my services that I did not make my body feel good, that I did not really enjoy doing. Because remember, self-care was my number one priority. So I had to really look at one of the services that I knew caused me problems was children's haircuts. And I think I shared that a couple weeks ago. But why I say that is because when it doesn't serve your intention or your highest good, which was my self-care at the time, I had to let those people go gracefully, and I had to find people that love to do kids' haircuts so that I made sure that my client was taken care of, the people around me were building because I was giving them my clients, and then it freed up more time for me to spend to do with the clients that I love to do and the service I love to do. So sometimes you got to make tough decisions like that, but it's the way in which you handle it that's really going to make the difference, because people can see when you're being genuine and when you're not. And when I explained it to the mothers of those kids that I just couldn't do it anymore, but I do have somebody that can come to you, I just don't have the time to do it, they were grateful that I took care of their kids still by referring them to someone. And then the other thing that you need to do is, since I lost clients, I needed to gain a couple clients. So I really went to my resource that I had right there in front of me. The clients that I really, really love to do, I asked them to refer me their friends, because I know that friends hang out with friends that are like them. And I wanted to do hair like their hair and have that type of energy in my chair. And I had a select clientele that I did. And I only spent time with clients I loved to do. And then they started sending me their friends. And so the other thing that I really focused on was, how can I create this experience for them at home? How can I take a little bit, like give a little bit of Tammy with them to go home? And that was through my products that I sold to them. I never called it retail. I never felt like I was selling. I always felt like, what can I give them that's going to keep their hair healthy and they're going to be able to duplicate this style? Because if I wouldn't have done that, they wouldn't have been happy. And what I found is my retail, I was very intentional on what I sold and why I sold it, and they knew it. Because my clients knew, I will not sell you on anything that I don't believe in or that I won't use personally. So I really had to look at my retail shelf and say, what am I going to have on it? And is it serving my client? Because if it's not, and if I'm just doing it for the money, I don't feel good about that. So it was a lot of different little shifts that I slowly started making. And I am telling you, huge changes in my career, huge changes on my body. I started feeling better. And it just makes a difference. But it all started with defining what I wanted. And I wanted self-care. I wanted to enjoy every client I did. I wanted to make just as much income in less amount of hours. And everything I did in my business, it had to involve those three things or I wouldn't do it. So I really encourage you out there running your business, go back to the drawing board, redefine what you want. And anything, anyone in your business that's not offering those values, that are not in line with that, you either need to coach them to get there with you, or you're going to have to stop doing that service, stop selling that product, or stop, cultivating that culture. You've got to cultivate a culture that you want. And people will migrate to you. When you have a vision, people migrate to you and they want to be a part of that. And it's your job as a leader to communicate that. And so, as a leader, I think it's important right now more than ever, tune in on your leadership skills, because they need you now more than ever. And there's a lot of resources out there for you that you can get that leadership skills. So that's my cup of tea. What do you guys think?
Awesome.
I thought it was a good.
There's a saying that says,
information.
there's a saying that says you can't get what you want until you know who you really are.
Yep.
That's a real.
And that's finding your strengths, right? There's a lot of nuggets of information today. Finding the strengths, cultivating the culture you want, redefining what you want, be intentional in what you're doing behind the chair, and use this time right now. And ask yourself, just because I don't have it now, what do I want? What do I want to create in the future? And then you create it. And listen, if you need help, the 4 of us are here. We're not just showing up here to talk to ourselves. We are literally showing up to help you. So reach out. We're a lifeline. You know, we're not looking to make money off of you. We're looking to help you right now. We know by using our strengths and what we're doing, our business are just naturally growing. It's going to happen. So we're here. You can DM us, give us questions, give us comments, let us know what you want to talk about, because we're going to show up. You know, we're here for you guys. And I've really enjoyed getting to do this with you guys. I'm growing so much from it. And I'm loving our audience. They're DMing me. They're DMing these guys. They're telling us what they're liking. They're friending us. So I know that we're making a difference. And we want to keep doing that for you.
Awesome.
So
Amen.
let's go on
Great.
and get some last words, like little nugget, and then we'll let everybody go. So we'll start with you, Gerry. What's your nugget?
Mine is simply, as Tammy said, if you have any questions or information, especially about weed and me mindset, just reach out to me, DM me or PM me. And other than that, I'll see you Friday.
Yes. And how about you, Erin?
Listen, I just finished the whole series of Parks and Rec, and they let's see, Tom and Donna in there say treat yourself, right? Like they have a day to treat yourself. So I say treat yourself to know yourself, and that means reaching out to any one of us, including me, whoever you resonate with. We will help you, and you're absolutely right. We're here like with love in our heart to help you get into the future now.
Yeah, I love that. How about you, Carlos?
Yeah, I was going to say, just think about how you want to show up when you go back to that salon. This is a perfect opportunity to reinvent yourself. You have a great opportunity now when you get back to that salon to be a different hairdresser, to be the best hairdresser that you've ever you dreamed of. And I know you have it inside of you. You just have to show up the right way, and you're going to see some amazing things happening for you. I also want to give a book out. It's a book that actually changed my life when I was a hairdresser that was kind of like in that cusp of struggling a little bit. And it's called 17 Lies That Are Holding You Back and the Truth That Will Set You Free by Stephen Chandler. An amazing book that will give you some aha moments and hopefully get you back by that cusp where it's going to turn you into an amazing human being.
Can you repeat
I love
that?
that.
17 Lies That Are Holding You Back and the Truth That'll Set You Free.
You know Gerry's writing that book down right now. Look
Yeah, I'm definitely. I like the title. And if you could post that on Maximize the Moment too, Carlos, that would be helpful.
Sure.
Yeah, because he's going to learn and then he's going to preach. I love it.
Yep.
All right.
I'll be teaching this next week, guys.
Yes.
I want to say, before I read that book, let me share with you really quickly, and then I'll go. The shift that it made in my life. When I read that book, I was going through a divorce, and I was actually the education development director of of Madison Avenue, our salon there, Tony and Guy, big staff. And my goal again was to inspire people, and I was feeling just down. I was not feeling motivated. I remember the photographic awards were coming up for Tony and Guy, and as a leader, my role was to get people involved and excited to enter the photographic awards. But that meant I needed to enter it. So I remember reading that book, changed my life around. I entered, I believe, 5 different categories. I entered to get my staff inspired. I placed in every single category. And and I'm not saying this to brag, but I'm just saying the power of the mindset that shifted in me to, contribute at a high level. I contributed to that book.
Yeah. And I'll give you props. That was incredible photographs too.
Thank you. You were there in the audience, weren't you?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, they're incredible photographs. Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. But it's stepping into the unknown, the uncomfortableness, not worrying what other people are going to think. You just do it. If it fuels your soul, if it feels good to you, keep moving in that direction. That's where you're supposed to be going. And that's what I think right now, it's hard to be there for others when you can't even be there for yourself right now. But you've got to. You don't have a choice. Like, we've got to move forward. We have to. So if you're stuck, get with somebody who's not stuck, because they will unstuck you. I promise. They will unstuck you.
We don't know if that's proper English.
It's not proper English, but that's what I'm saying. If you're stuck, get unstuck. But you know what? All the hairdressers knew exactly what I was talking about, Gerry. Okay.
Thank you.
So
and
that's the
thing.
thing.
One other thing, I want to know, why do you get to wear sunglasses and we don't, though? That's another thing,
Oh,
too.
well, you know why? Because my allergies are horrible today. I don't know what's going on out here. I'm not used to this weather, so I'm like, I'm just gonna put my sunglasses on.
Well, I'm wearing
And it's
shades
sunny
next
out.
week.
It's
Okay.
beautiful out. So I'm enjoying the weather for sure. That's definitely my best thing is the weather.
You look really cool. I'm gonna wear mine next week, so
All right, but you got to go outside. You got to go outside. I don't know if you see me wiping my eyes. I'm literally crying the whole time because of the allergies. But anyway, back to getting unstuck. Get with somebody that's going to lift you up, because they will. I mean, that's just the key, is surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, and you can't go wrong. I promise you. So have a great day. We'll see you on Friday, same time, same place.
Bye.
Amen.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. I'll see you guys later.